All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about Axie Infinity. But yeah, before I jump into that topic, I just want to mention, I know I've been missing a bit. It's mostly because of the whole holiday madness that happens. Um, I don't do like traveling, but I go and visit my family that's about 100 miles away, one direction. Um, so that also contributes to, me not being too available sometimes if I do that. Um, so yeah, I did some of that since November. I visited family a couple times. Trying to take advantage of being able to get out while we can, because we all know what happened in 2020. That wasn't really an option too much. And so even though I haven't been able to see all the family all at once yet, we've still been kind of holding it down and available. Some of us see each other on different times, so I mean, whatever works, right? But I hope you guys have been good. Hope you guys have been stable. Hopefully your finances are looking pretty after all these holidays. Not a sarcastic pretty like your wallet's bleeding and crying, a crying bank account with a lot of red and overdrawn. Hopefully it's not that. I know the holidays can put on some pressure, and that's why during the holidays I did want to do that recording that I posted about holiday stressors and things like that. But now that we're past that, and now that we're in the new year, happy 2022. It still doesn't feel right saying it. I think so far this week, I mean, it's Wednesday right now, and so far this week, I think on all of my work documents, I think I've written the correct year of 2022. I'm hoping. So I don't physically write that much, but I mean, I write my own little kind of notes, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I do write a lot, actually. I document a lot for work, but I mean, yeah, I don't usually write the date down, I guess. Not as much as I used to. Like, we have little pull down boxes and things, and there's a calendar that we use to click the date that we're doing our notes and when we're documenting. And so the option that I have is to click the calendar, and then I just click today, because we do all of our documentation same day. We don't really go backwards unless there are edits involved. Then I'll have to go back and kind of like get back in there. So all right, so I'm going to give you a very broad overview of Axie Infinity for those of you who have not quite played it, or who are interested in getting an introduction of some sort into cryptocurrency or into NFTs. This is a good type of an option. So I'll explain generally what I know. And I'm still learning, so I'm having to go through and learn more details. But I'll explain generally what I know, which is that Axie Infinity is basically a game where you use a combination of cards and virtual pets, which are kind of like, they're like NFTs, but at the same time, they're almost, the game is almost similar to something like, I don't even think this is too accurate, kind of like Magic the Gathering meets a Nano Pet or a Tamagotchi, something like that. Like, I mean, it's not as complex as Magic the Gathering, I don't think, but it can be. And there is potential for earning, but there is risk involved too. So let me put that out there up front. So let me try and be more linear with this. So basically, Axie Infinity uses a combination of these virtual pets that are little monster looking things, that are NFTs, right? So non fungible tokens. Um, these have a value and worth placed on them based on different features that they hold. And the goal is basically to win in a battle and defeat your opponent, using a combination of cards that you get, and your Axies are kind of fighting against the other player's Axies. And so you have to buy them. So Axies aren't free, at least to my knowledge. I don't know if there's a way to get free ones, but they range between $1 all the way up to what I recently learned, that there are Axies worth about $1.5 million US dollars in money. And again, the prices are based on the different features that they hold. So I'm going to go into detail in different episodes about these different features and about a lot of the different components of this game. But in general, that's kind of what you do in the game. You're trying to win what's called SLP, which are smooth love potions. And these smooth love potions are a tradable type of currency. So if you wanted to start playing Axie Infinity, if you've never played it before, if you wanted to set things up, what you would need would be a digital wallet of some sort. You can use, for example, MetaMask. Sorry, I can't read my writing. MetaMask. And what you do is you would load your digital wallet with Ethereum, which is a type of cryptocurrency. So ETH, or Ethereum, ETH, you would load your MetaMask wallet. And the way to get Ethereum is through a site such as Coinbase, and you can use something like that. And so if you use Coinbase as a wallet, maybe you use, I don't know, Ronin as a wallet. Basically what you would do is you would load your wallet with Ethereum, and that's used, like Ronin wallet, for example, would be used to load ETH to the wallet using Ronin Bridge. It's like a whole thing. I mean, you might have to follow a different tutorial on how to actually get the wallets and the currency that you need, and pick the wallet of your choice if you don't already have one. If you already have wallets, a digital wallet, you'd want to look it up. Look up the one that you have, see if you can use what you have for this game, for Axie Infinity. So once you have all of that kind of going, you could log into MetaMask, and then you can, make your account for Axie Infinity. And what you would do is acquire, at the very least, you're going to need 3 Axies, 3 of the virtual pet, little monster looking things. You need 3 of those guys to start playing. So you can start playing once you get those from the marketplace. And basically what happens once you start playing the game is you're going to get 4 cards for every battle. And you're going to basically use what's called explosive energy. You have a type of explosive energy that these cards dictate what Axie is going to release that amount of explosive energy against your opponent. And once it's released against the opponent, what you're going to do is you're going to see, like, okay, is this helping you towards winning this match, or is it helping you towards losing this match? Like, basically the goal is to use the explosive energy to defeat your opponent. And it takes multiple tries of this. I don't know if you can just do it in like one blast and then use one. I think it takes like multiple tries. So different Axies are going to be kind of activated for you to be able to, inflict some form of damage against your opponent. They might be able to block it, or it might cause damage. And so, the way that the game chooses, because I don't think you can choose which of your opponent's Axies is going to get attacked. I think it shows either based on the closest, or maybe it's random. That's how they get damage towards them. And so the options are either going to be that you defeat your opponent. Sorry, you can either get defeated, meaning that you lose, or it can be a victory match, meaning that you win. And so if you lose the match, you get what's called an MMR. An MMR is a matchmaking rating. If you win, you get an MMR, and you also get SLP. So remember, the SLP is the Smooth Love Potion. Smooth Love Potion is a type of a currency in this game. And so, if you were to have lost, you don't lose any SLP, which is good. So you can play and you can lose and not lose currency from losses. But if you win, you would gain MMR and SLP, and the amount of gains of SLP that you get is going to be based on your MMR ratings. And so there's a lot of combinations of things that you'd have to pay attention to, such as, you want to have a good MMR rating, you want to have more SLP, and there are options such as daily quests. So you can get SLP by participating in daily quests, and that's mentioned as an option for you. It'll tell you what to do, like complete this many battles or win this many battles. So just because you're playing the battles doesn't mean you're automatically going to win, unless maybe you have like a setup or, Axies that are so powerful that they're pretty much going to win. But it doesn't necessarily guarantee a win. So you may win, you may lose. So say, for example, if you had a daily quest to win 15 matches, and if you play 15 matches and you lose 7 of them, you still got a lot to go. So it can be time consuming, it can be energy consuming, and again, it's not guaranteed. That's kind of where some of the risk comes in, because remember, you had to buy these players, you had to buy these Axies, right? You purchased them with your money. Technically, you used your money to buy digital currency, cryptocurrency of Ethereum, and you use that Ethereum in this game. So that's one way to get SLPs, as well as winning the matches and whatever else the daily quests recommend. If you do what it says, then you get the SLPs. And so another thing, there are two different types of modes, PvP and PvE. So these types of modes, I'll have to explain them later, but they're types of matches. So PvP matches, they give you a higher frequency of SLP. So you're going to be getting it more often than PvE mode. There are Axies that can be expensive, that cost more, such as Meta Axies. They have plants, they have beasts and fish. And then, so basically, I hope that makes sense. That's basically what you're doing, is you are using your money to buy these Axies that play against other opponents' Axies. And in that process, you can win both SLP, which is, smooth love potion, or you can win matchmaking rating. And those are the two things that you're mostly going to be focusing on, probably at the beginning. But there are a lot of other things you can focus on. So let's talk some more about earnings. So earnings are another aspect of this. So not only through the SLP of playing the game, playing the matches, you can also get some earnings with breeding, or you can be a scholar or a manager. So basically, if you are a scholar is a person who gets somebody else to lend them their Axies, right? So some other person who also plays this game, I don't know, maybe they're going offline for like 10 days or something, and they don't want to play, maybe they don't want to play for 10 days, but they're like, well, I could potentially make some money in that time, and so why don't I kind of lend these out to a scholar, right? And the scholar plays the game, they complete quests, and their goal is to gain SLP for what's called a manager. So a manager is the person who lends out their Axies. So say, for example, if a person has 20 Axies that they've purchased, and maybe they're playing, and at the same time, while they're playing the Axie Infinity game, and they're going through all these matches and things, they can't use all of their Axies all at once anyways. And so they might say, hey, I want this other person who is a scholar to take my Axies that I'm not using. Here's 3 of my 20 Axies. You can use them to hopefully win. And I'm using another 3 of the remaining, 17 of those Axies. So I can be actively playing while someone else is actively using my other Axies. So that can improve your potential for gains. Again, it's a risk, because you can't tell if you're going to be winning all these matches that you're playing. You can't tell if the scholar is going to be winning all the matches that they're playing. So they could be potentially losing and you're losing, and then basically, while you wouldn't be losing SLP, you would be lowering your matchmaking rating. And again, you need matchmaking rating. You want that because your gains of SLP are going to depend on your matchmaking rating. So you don't want to get to a point where your matchmaking rating is super low. because then you're not going to be gaining as much SLP even when you are winning, if that makes sense. And then scholars get 60%, and the managers, the ones who are lending out, the Axies, get 40%. So those are methods that you can use to earn. And let me see. So I came across a chart here. This is from some months back, so I'm not sure if it's accurate, but for the ratings, I think if you have under 800, then there's no SLP gained. Between 800 and 999, you would gain 1 SLP per win. Between 1000 and 1099, you would have 3 SLP per win. Between 1100 and 1299, you would have 7 SLP per win. 1300 to 1499 is 8 SLP per win. I think you see where this is going. 1500 to 1799 is 9 SLP per win. 1800 to 1999 is 10 SLP per win. 2000 to 2199 is 11 SLP per win. And 2200 or more is 12 SLP per win. So that's how you can tell how much you should gain. And so let's see. You can also, this isn't, what I'm going to say isn't like directly related to this game necessarily. Sorry, I'm logging into my Coinbase right now. If it'll let me. Let us see. So is it on here? Sorry. So you can invest in Axie Infinity. That is a possible investment that you can have, is in Axie Infinity, the game itself. I'm not saying you have to, or I'm not recommending it, or I'm not recommending it, and I'm not recommending it and telling you what to do. I'm just saying that's an option. Yeah. And so there's a lot that you can kind of like invest in. You can buy. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to look up something. Should have done this before, but I just thought of it now. Let's see. Yeah, you can buy Ethereum as well. I already know that, but so another type of gain that you can have would be potentially if Axie Infinity stock increased, or Ethereum crypto increased, and you had invested in those when they've increased in value. That's technically a gain for you if you've invested in it already. So that's an option. It's not a fast option. It's, again, not a guaranteed option, and the market is volatile. So one interesting thing about this type of game is that you're gaining SLP if you're winning. Or however it is that you're going about gaining SLP. You're gaining SLP, potentially, hopefully, you're gaining SLP to some extent. And while you're gaining SLP, the market is just fluctuating, right? And so the price and value of Ethereum is changing. So that also changes things for you, because if you want to cash out, I mean, it depends on how much Ethereum is going to be worth now versus 5 minutes ago versus 5 hours from now, versus 5 days from now versus 5 years from now. I mean, it's not necessarily guaranteed that you're going to get a good return on your investment, because you are putting money into the game by buying the Axies. You are putting money into the game by, having Ethereum available so that you can play the game, or start playing the game rather. But the amount that you put in, there's no guarantee that, you're going to come out ahead. I mean, even if you're winning, you could still potentially have losses if the price of Ethereum decreases significantly from the time that you first started playing and bought all your Axies and started winning all this SLP. It's really going to depend how much, it's going to depend how much how much Ethereum's worth, basically. And I don't know about you. I can't predict the future, so I don't really know what's going to happen. But that's one aspect too, is the volatility. You might actually potentially be able to earn just based on the fluctuations of the market itself. Another method of gaining or earning in this game is breeding. So you can play the role of breeding Axies, meaning that you have these virtual pets and you're breeding your virtual pets. I believe it's about a 5-day period. And so again, there's risk involved. You don't know what's going to happen in 5 days. So you may have spent money on 2 Axies based on their qualities. And that's a whole different field to know which qualities you want for breeding, which would potentially make an Axie worth more. And you can sell the Axies. Now, things to mention with all the types of earning I've mentioned. I did mention that Ethereum is volatile, and you can't really predict just by even how much SLP you have, how much the SLP is worth. Again, even if you're winning the game, say you have, I don't know, 20 SLP, it's hard to tell if just the 20 SLP, even just sitting there, if you're not playing the game, is it worth more or is it worth less? And so, even if you're not playing the game, even if you have 20 SLP, I mean, technically you could be, the SLP may be worth more or less, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm explaining it accurately enough that it makes sense. And again, with the scholars and with the managers, you can't really tell if you're going to win or not. I don't think there's a guaranteed win method. Not anything I've heard of, but I don't know. I mean, people always kind of find ways to cheat through stuff and do their whole thing. There's scammy ways. People always find a way for that. I haven't heard of anything yet. I just want people to be careful of mostly the hype. Because this is something, I feel like I'm going to almost have to mention this in like every episode. But a lot of times, a lot of us, myself included, we get our educational details for these types of games, about cryptocurrency, about, how to earn, things like that, through YouTube. And so if you understand YouTube, even like kind of generally, just because you search it doesn't mean that that's the reality of the picture of things. Now, if we look back a little bit, like with Dogecoin and a lot of different types of crypto in the recent past, like during 2020, we did see some huge spikes and people were becoming millionaires and gaining a lot, of return on having a lot of increase on the return on their investment into certain crypto types of currencies. But that wasn't like a daily thing consistently. There are time periods, yes, where that has happened, but this isn't like, like every day, I'm buying the dip, and every day, every other day, I'm cashing out like on this massive return. That's not normal. Because of the volatility and because of things like memes and things like that. I mean, there's just a lot that goes into cryptocurrency increasing in value. I'm not saying it's only because of memes, but you can see that can drive prices right there. That alone, Elon Musk, tweeting about, random Shiba Inu related content, and then people just like waiting for him to post, and then they buy and sell and make a profit. I mean, that's not like a way to like necessarily bank on building your retirement or paying your rent or paying your bills. I mean, now, are there day traders and investors that do short-term investing? Yeah, I mean, that exists. I'm not one of those people, so I can't really say exactly how that works as far as with crypto, but I'm sure it works very similarly as with other types of stocks. But just the issue is that it's so volatile. So a lot of times what's recommended is holding for longer. The longer you hold over time, unless something doesn't completely, totally tank, you're usually going to be, not always, I don't even know if I want to say usually, but you have a better chance of seeing a return over time. And a lot of people recommend holding for like 5 years or so. Or more. So this isn't kind of what we see in the media. We don't see people talking about, I held this. That's not exciting. Nobody wants to hear every day how much, couple cents or few $100s you won or lost or gained or whatever. Nobody really wants to hear that. What people want to hear is, how do I make the money? How do I get the money? How do I earn the money? How do I get more money off of this? How do I get a return, right? So I'm just cautioning people to pay attention to how social media works, is that the more people search a certain type of topic, it's gonna become more popular. The more popular a YouTube channel is, the more likely it's going to be recommended to you when you search for a term. So say, for example, if I search for making money with Axie Infinity, I'm going to come across plenty of people talking about Axie Infinity as a side hustle, how you can make money. They never talk about how you can lose money, how you might not have a return on your investment. Even if you are winning, you still might be potentially losing, depending on what the market's doing. You might be losing money, even if you're not losing SLP necessarily. The worth of SLP might be decreasing as you're playing the game. And so those are the types of things that people don't really talk about much. It's easy to get into the hype of something, and it makes it really hard to know what is accurate and what's not. Because if I search how to make money on Axie Infinity, I'm not going to see the full spectrum of what's happening out there. I'm going to see, oh yeah, of course there's a lot about making money on playing Axie Infinity, right? Of course there's a lot of details about that and how to make money and how somebody else made money. But a lot of times what they don't talk about are, all the times they lost, or how much money they invested and lost, or how many times, a manager hired scholars to use their Axies and they lost, or how they tried to breed Axies and bought all these Axies to breed them and then ended up losing money through that process. Or maybe the market for selling the certain Axies that were breeded, maybe it's not easy to sell. Maybe it's not like a super great, easy kind of easy breezy market where it's like, okay, I just post these SLPs. I just post these Axies. Somebody's going to buy them. Maybe that's not the case. Like, a lot of it's risk, right? And so these are the things to keep in mind. I'm not trying to like bring people down, but it's like, I feel like it's easy to get hyped up. It's easy to see something and think, I'm going to make so much money off of this, because that's what is presented. Yes, you can make money, but be cautious and be careful and don't overdo it, and learn as you're going, and don't get too hyped up and throw like $10,000 of your money just because you're following some YouTube tutorial of somebody who did that, and then lose all your money. I mean, you might make a good return, but you might not. And so, and that's something I can't even predict. I can't tell you one way or another what's going to work, when, how, why. None of us knows that. And so, and so many factors play into this. And so it's really hard to actually direct people on what to do. Because it's not always clear cut. It's not always like 100% like, okay, this is the easy method of doing this thing, and let's just do it real quick, and we got an answer, and wham bam, it's done. There's a lot to consider, right? And I want to talk about those types of things because people don't talk about it. Like, you can watch videos on breeding Axies, and you kind of have to dig a little bit to find information on what it's like to lose money, what the probabilities look like. These people have these pretty intensive spreadsheets of, what they're breeding, what it should look like, how much it's going to cost, blah, 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 all this stuff. If you're not good at math, or if you don't like spreadsheets and that kind of stuff, and you're just winging it, I don't know. I mean, there's always potential in everything, but you don't want to lose a whole lot of money, like thousands of dollars, if you can't afford it. But you also don't want to miss out on opportunities out of not being educated about them and not knowing about it when it's something new. And then it's like, I should have started playing that game like in 2022 or in 2021, or I should have started playing that game. I kept hearing about it, because we don't know what the future holds. Maybe in the future, this game is going to go somewhere amazing, where the people who started playing earlier on, have some kind of an advantage to the people who are just getting in. Kind of like what we saw with Bitcoin, Ethereum. I mean, I was hearing about cryptocurrency for ages. One of my friends was telling me about it, and I was like, what is this cryptocurrency stuff? And I kept watching videos about the blockchain. He first told me about Bitcoin, and then he started telling me about Ethereum. And then I was like, what is this? I didn't know anything about it. So, I sat on it for a while, didn't do a thing. And then I didn't start investing super early. What I started doing was playing these weird little games. They were like, I don't even remember. It was kind of like games where you get coins, or games where you like download like apps and you like play the app for like 30 seconds or 5 minutes or whatever, or you do these little tasks that would get you like fractions of a Bitcoin, which would be like equivalent to like a few cents here and there. And it was like harmless. I had a lot of things I was doing during that time where I'd be waiting in line a lot or like waiting around places a lot, where it was like, okay, when I'm waiting at these places, I'm just going to log in to this, this app and gain some Bitcoin here and there in fractions, some little fractions of Bitcoin. I think after a while, I got up to 5 Bitcoin. Not 5 Bitcoin, sorry, $5, 5 US dollars, worth of Bitcoin. And this is like ages ago. I did like nothing with it for a while. And then I slowly started investing in Bitcoin, a percentage of my income, as well as well, it wasn't really a percentage of my income. It was more, extra money. So I was doing things on the side where I would get extra money and I would invest a percentage of that, as well as a percentage of that extra money I would invest in like stocks and different things like that. And so I didn't even check my account hardly, because I was just putting money here, and it wasn't like large amounts of money. It was like $5 here, $10 here. Oh, I got a birthday, birthday money, put $100 here, like it wasn't a lot of money. It was just in bits and pieces, probably almost every month for like multiple years. And then during, when everybody started going pretty nuts, especially during the Rona, everything shutting down and everything, and everyone's talking about how to make money, because, that was like something people needed to know, was like, how do we use these alternative ways to kind of like make money somehow when we can't leave the house and can't go anywhere and nothing's open, and yeah, that's not going to work. So we need some other options here, right? And so that's when I started checking my account, and I was like, whoa, like this is a lot of money. Like, and I started watching it, and it was then, it wasn't, I just let it sit there. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I'm explaining, is like, sometimes you get in late, I got in early in a way, but it was like slightly over time I got in. I mean, when I first got in, like I said, I was like getting up to $5 on these like apps. And it wasn't even $5 a day. It was like, I don't know, like I estimate like maybe 50 cents to $1 every other day or something. It wasn't a lot of money. But then, the price of Bitcoin, has changed since then as well. And so even that $5 grew. Everything grew over time. And none of that was predictable to me. But the people who totally didn't get in early, like real early, now they're paying much more than they would have been paying back then, right? As it goes with everything. So, I hope that's helpful for people who want to start playing Axie Infinity, just to get the, terminology down. If there's stuff that I didn't explain too well, because I'm sure, I'm not perfect at this, so, if there's stuff I haven't explained too skilledly by this point, what you can do is you can go and look up the terms, like look up the process of how to use the digital wallet, look up the process of getting Ethereum and linking things to the Axie Infinity game, and how to get the game, and how to play the game, and start your profile in the game and everything, and just these different topics. You can look them up. But yeah, I mean, it's possible to make money. It's also possible to not make a lot of money. Again, it's a game, so in a way this is almost like, it's almost equivalent to playing poker online, or a gambling type of card game or something like that online where you're actually using US dollars or your real currency, your real money. It's pretty much the same idea. You're playing a game for a type of currency. Just the difference here is the currency fluctuates in worth, and it's pretty similar. You're gambling on, buying these Axies that they're gonna turn a profit for you, that the Axies you purchased are gonna eventually gain you more SLP that's worth more Ethereum than what you initially used to start playing the game. That's what everybody hopes. But is it going to happen that way? There are so many factors, as you can tell, so many factors that contribute to things changing one way or another, and that's not something that I can really say, yeah, it's going to change. No, it's not going to change. We don't know. I don't know. You don't know. I don't know either. So, none of us knows. But yeah, so, yeah, I hope that was helpful. Just, if you're going into YouTube and you're, searching anything that has to do with something that involves earning and risk and a gamble of some sort. I mean, people don't call this gambling, but it's gambling. What's his name? I know Graham Stephan talks a lot about the gamification of stocks and crypto. They use like different apps like, Robinhood and stuff like that. The different apps make it seem a little bit like a game a little bit. And like I mentioned, I started getting in to Bitcoin by playing like little apps and app games and stuff where you would gain fractions of Bitcoin for downloading other apps or something. I really don't remember what I was doing in those games. Like I just remember there was something with coins, and I may be mixing it up. I can't remember if it was something with downloading apps. I think this was the same thing, but I could have been doing that for some. Maybe that was what I did for gift cards. I think I used to get like Amazon gift cards. This is like way back. I can't remember. This is like years ago, guys. Probably like 5 years ago. But yeah, just when you go into YouTube, I usually would recommend, going through the filters, looking at either what was most recently uploaded. That's one method. Searching for what was the most recently uploaded video, not necessarily what's the most popular video, because the way the algorithms are set up and the way everything's kind of set up is you're going to be given the content that most people watch from the channels that are most popular and successful. That doesn't necessarily mean you're getting the most accurate information. It just means you're getting the most popular opinions, the most popular channels promoting certain ideas based on, and also based on people searching these ideas. Most people aren't searching how much I lost in Axie Infinity, tutorials on how to lose SLP in Axie Infinity. People aren't usually searching these types of terms. They want to know how to win, how to earn, how to get money. So definitely try the two sides of the coin. Change your search filters a little bit if you need to. I do that from time to time, just looking at the other side of something. If I notice I'm getting like super excitable or super like emotionally like, I'm like pumped up about something, it's probably something I need to take a step back from, not be impulsive, not just start purchasing all kinds of stuff, because I want to do that. Everybody wants to get money. Everybody wants to get money doing something fun or doing something easy or not doing much at all. I mean, people like working. I'm not saying people are lazy. I'm just saying why work more harder and get more stressed and overwhelmed when you can make more by doing something either super fun like playing a game, or kind of gives you that dopamine rush if it's kind of like a gambling type of game. um but just weighing it out and seeing if you're actually making money, because a lot of times people act like they're making so much money, and it's not accurate. Not everybody's making bank on these games. Not everybody's turning a massive profit. And so those are just some things to look at. Some food for thought. Just don't get caught up in the hype of it all. Try to learn a lot about the losing aspect as well as the winning aspect. And you'll probably be good to go once you're starting with Axie Infinity if you choose to do so. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend going into any type of game where you're using crypto or earning crypto, or any kind of game where you're earning anything without really knowing the details. It's good to study the emotional aspects of money, the emotional aspects of gaining, the emotional aspects, and just all the emotional aspects. It's good to study that. All right, guys. Well, I hope this was helpful. And I hope you guys have some success with this. I hope you are able to earn and have fun and enjoy yourselves. And I hope this was an okay intro. Thanks for listening.